Clark, because she had a pretty quiet offseason, didn't play in any games or leagues, as a matter of fact, and there weren't a lot of headlines. But with the WNBA season on the horizon, of course the headlines are back because teams are already moving their games against the Fever to larger venues. And then a Fever preseason game at Iowa sold out in 40 minutes. Mind you, that's
Mhm.
15,000 seats. And I actually saw some people saying that there might have been a little inside access because when they went to get the tickets, they were completely sold out already.
Not
So,
insider trading.
yeah, right? Like maybe it was just for Iowa people. I'm not too sure, but everyone wants to see Caitlin Clark. The Caitlin Clark effect is back, and I'm really keen for her to go into her second season. So, do you think that she'll meet the moment, or I mean, I don't really know what else she could do other than meet the moment, but what do you think will happen with her?
Yes, I do think Caitlin Clark is going to meet the moment. And I think Caitlin Clark mania and fever or Clarkonomics, whatever it is they're calling it, I think it only gets bigger and better. I mean, health willing, of course. But I think part of it is, there'll be less resistance this season. And I think that's just because naturally, as the seasons go on, the body of work begins to build itself up. And what comes with that is respect, and hopefully this season, I hope that the conversation moves and the focus moves away from everything that isn't ball. There was so much conversation about gratitude for Caitlin or race and, tension in America, all this and that. And it was at some point exhausting for all sorts of fans, no matter what sides or beliefs you had. And I feel like this season, like, we'll have the opportunity to see her physically stronger, mentally rested, better improved. She has a squad and a team of real weapons around her now, real vets who can support her, who can lead her at times. She's got a really great coach coming in. I think she's got everything she needs to be successful. And I hope this season that the way we're discussing Caitlin is about the game and the production. So that means that we can be talking about how she's meeting the expectations, how she's exceeding the expectations, and also have critical conversations about the moments where she isn't living up to the expectation, just as we would for a Victor Wembanyama, just as we would for a Jason Tatum. Like, I think that's the evolution of the conversation, not only around Caitlin Clark, but just women's basketball on a whole. So I'm excited for season 2 of Caitlin in the WNBA.
So am I, especially
As am I.
given the players that she has around her. I mean, we talked about it, I believe.
So look, let's talk about this real quick. When it comes to Caitlin Clark, there's going to be expectations. We know that. But I actually like this segment, how they're breaking it down like the Caitlin Clark economics. We understand that it's still going to be growing from here. Everything you guys are seeing. Look, let me tell you, the 15,000 seat arenas for Caitlin Clark will eventually turn to 23, 25. The game is going to grow. Her fan base will grow. Everything, we know that. This is just the start. This is just a start for Caitlin Clark. 100%. Now, I 100% agree with this take on let's leave it about basketball this year. Let's talk basketball. Last year, man, last year was crazy, bro. Bro, last year there were so many different conversations, so many different back and forth, so many different arguments, so many different. It was getting draining. That's why when the playoffs ended with defeat, I'm done. I stopped YouTube for 3 months. I was cooked. I was cooked. I was cooked. Well, at least I stopped sports YouTube for 3 months. But I had to. It was there were so many, and plus it got boring without Caitlin Clark. Let's just be real. But there were headlines, there was comments, there were just back and forth with this fan and this fan, the rookie of the year, and no, she's not the rookie of the year. Like how is she not the rookie of the year? Are you out of your mind? There's just so many, the race situation and then the political and then the this, and it got away from the game of basketball. Caitlin Clark is good at basketball. She's a good basketball player. And a lot of the conversations, they were about basketball, of course, but there was a lot of other things in it. A lot of other things involved. a lot of other parties involved, a lot of comparing this and comparing that, a lot of, oh, well, this, oh, well, that. There's just so much of that. And I love how they got into the fact that, hey, let's talk basketball. Let's keep it basketball. Leave everything outside. And I want to talk about this because if you're an OG supporter of me, you know I was one to call Caitlin Clark out multiple times when I did not like something from Caitlin Clark. Whether it was on live, whether it was on reactions, whether it was on post games, whether it was on interviews, whether it was on whatever videos that I have out all over the internet. I was the one. I'm calling her out on the little things, on the this, on the attitudes, the this with the refs and just certain things and that I'm seeing. And there was people who didn't understand, but the more I kept doing it, they're like, okay, you're right. But as she stated, I want to talk about Caitlin Clark too when she's not living up to the expectations. You got to understand, our expectations for Caitlin Clark aren't our expectations for these other girls or these other players. My expectations for Cooper Flagg is going to be completely different than Bronny James. You know what I'm saying? So there are going to be conversations where we feel like, hey, Caitlin, you're much better than what you're doing, or you should be doing this, or you should, and there shouldn't be a problem with it. Just how when I speak on another certain individual in a basketball standpoint, I get called a hater. I'm a hater because I'm calling out what I'm seeing clearly, and it's not just me now calling out. You have WNBA legends calling it out. But it took a whole year for a WNBA legend to call something out for it to be okay now. But I was a hater for a whole year for calling certain things out. So I really feel like this is what that conversation is about right here. This is what what basketball should be about. We should be able to have conversations and not have to worry about hate comments and this and that and so much different controversy on. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't. But the main thing is, Caitlin Clark effect. The headlines are back. Tickets selling out tickets, selling out arenas. We're changing arenas. We're moving to the United Center. We're doing all these things already. Caitlin Clark's not even in season, and we're doing all of this already. We haven't seen Caitlin Clark touch a basketball in 6-7 months, and we're headlining Caitlin Clark. What does that tell you? So, just decided I'm gonna touch on this one small piece again.
Yes, I do think Caitlin Clark is going to meet the moment. And I think
this right here,
moment, or for her to go into her second season. So do you think that she'll meet the moment?
Like, do you think she's going to meet them? Of course she's going to meet the moment. This is what I wanted to touch on.
I mean, I don't really know what else she could do other than meet the moment, but what do you think will happen with her?
Yes, I do think Caitlin Clark is going to meet the moment. And I think Caitlin Clark mania and fever
So, the moment situation. Caitlin Clark, she's already, and this is why I keep telling you guys with Caitlin Clark and the difference with Caitlin Clark. What moment in the WNBA is bigger than her past 2 years at Iowa? What she's been in with the tournaments and what's bigger in the WNBA? What situation's bigger than what she's already been through in Iowa? What interview is bigger? What crowd is bigger? She played in the biggest crowd at Iowa. She played in the loudest at Iowa. She played with everything. There's nothing bigger in the WNBA to me that she hasn't faced besides the physicality part that she didn't see at Iowa. She's been in the big moments. She's hit the big time shots. She's hit the game winners, multiple. Some people forget Caitlin Clark is she's a killer. I don't care what, I don't care anybody. You can pull anybody's tape in college right now, and we can pull Caitlin Clark's. No, she's been in the biggest moments. You understand? She went to Iowa. She's been in the biggest moments, bro. Final four this, Final four that. She's beaten the big time school. She's been the underdog. Iowa wasn't supposed to be Iowa, bro. I get so passionate about this, man. Especially when I start talking about Iowa. Because what Caitlin Clark did at Iowa, none of these girls would be able to do what she did there. Under those circumstances, under those deck of cards Caitlin Clark was handed with. The talent that Caitlin Clark was handed. Iowa wasn't supposed to be some school beating these girls who got the top recruits and the D1 recruits left and right, and you're filled with 5-star athletes all over the board, and your roster's filled with 4-star and 5-stars all out of the country, or I mean all out of the states, coming from top high schools everywhere. Caitlin Clark's been in the moments, bro. She's been in those big games. So yeah, she's gonna rise to whatever moment that we're speaking on right now, and she's going to continue to grow in this league and continue to dominate, continue to take over. So when people say she didn't dominate last year, how could she not have dominated? How could she not have dominated? She rose to the occasion. Everything that you expected out of Caitlin Clark last year, did she not? Did she not do more? Maybe we thought she's going to be dropping bombs left and right. But bro, you got to understand, she's rookie leading professional women, grown women, and they've never been in that play style with her before. And then when they did get adapted, we saw what happened. Let's talk about the second year. If we based Caitlin Clark second half of the year, imagine if she played a full season like that. So she is going to rise to the moment. So that's really all I got. I just wanted to bring this to you guys. I know I get a little passionate at times. Excuse me. But yeah, man, I'm going to catch you guys on the next video. Shout out to these young, wonderful women. I know you guys have been telling me that I call these women girls, and I addressed it on my last video. When I speak on them, I'm speaking with full respect, 100%. So great show right here. And I'm going to catch you guys on the next video. Let me know what you guys think. I'm out.